Hello and
Hello.
welcome back to the Swan Pricing Show. My name is Filip Fučić. I'm a pricing mentor.
And I'm Filip Zolota, business manager.
Today we want to talk about an unusual kind of a milestone, which is a milestone for your client. The big one, which is payment, any kind of early payment. Yes, woohoo! Halloween season, early payments, right? Because we're taught to think of payment as a reward, or at least as a thank you, right? And while it's the truth, for the Swan case, for the expertise-based services, it's not the whole thing. Because, and I think this is the big difference between the Swan pricing and the duck pricing, the usual commoditized stuff, is that here this is not a simple transaction. Most of the things that we do for the clients is not about a single transaction, right? You order a beer, you get a beer. You pay for the beer.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Um, this is about things like in order for you to do your job, they have to deliver inputs or documents or access rights, decide on key issues, give you feedback on stuff, um, uh, approve your own milestones, right? And usually there's going to be a question of when is this going to be done? And then and I know, and everybody else knows that very often you need some input. They're like 2 weeks late, and then they're like, "Why
Yeah.
are we late? You're always late, right?" So, because there's going to be other things that clients will need to provide to you, it's very a good idea to get any kind of early payment, 100% upfront if it,
Yeah.
if you can do that. But even if you can't, and we wanted to talk about some examples and stuff, it's very good idea to see if they're going to pay that first thing on time. Because if they do, then you can probably assume that they're going to do the less painful stuff like providing you an insight and stuff on time. Otherwise, you get into the, you get the money when it's done, and it's done when I sent you, not done, and you were late because I was late, and now you have to give me a discount because, my business is suffering, and, all that jazz. So I think I think you had an example here.
Uh, we both have numerous examples, but generally, I wanted to emphasize and share generally my practice in all these years. Absolutely, and for sure, collection upfront, meaning in advance. It's simple reason, like you said, we don't want to chase overdue invoices. There is always a significant amount of activities within that specific scope. And actually, if we are being engaged with our clients and customers, we want to be focused on the delivery side, not chasing stuff. And that is the idea. In terms of practices, I can give some of the example in terms of projects who require significant amount of time. As you mentioned, it is a good setup to distribute the payments in installments, in milestones. And what's often happening that the clients and customers are being late with the switch materials and feedback, whatever. The good practice there is simply for, let's say, for example, if you have some e-commerce solution project, whatever, let's say it's 30K, you can ask 50% in advance payment, collection in advance, and 50% after delivery. But which specific type of delivery? Technical deployment from your end, which means no matter they're lacking with giving information, feedback, input, whatever, but you stick and put this same thing in contract. So if they ask, oh, why you're asking from us to pay for the services if the project is not finished? It is. We have a technical delivery. The milestone is the picture is painted and it's very clear. So when you share with us what was previously required and asked from you, we're going to be finalizing stuff. We move on, and that's it. It is important to navigate not only the conversation, but actually manage the project properly. Sometimes circumstances are various, and people don't necessarily have a tendency to be late, but it can happen, and it often happens. But this way, with payment collection upfront, you are taking care of objectivity, of operational cost and coverage for your business, taking care of business continuity, and also filter out serious players and clients from those who are not so serious. And it's pretty much straightforward. I even had the case with one partner. Everything was awesome until the moment when we said, okay, in terms of pricing and the collection, everything is being collected upfront. You pay the invoice, then we start the delivery. Yeah, but we never had that type of experience. Okay, I appreciate that, but this is the policy. If you want to work with us, these are the rules. So
Yes.
it was pretty much straightforward. It's go or no go. If you are ready to pay for our services up front and do accordingly, it's pretty much straightforward. We can work together. Other way around, there is no alternative. And that is also a significant thing to enforce your own rules because they are here for a reason, not
Yes.
just because we just wanted to create some kind of policy and after that immediately discharge it and do whatever client wants.
It's important because it also changes the narrative, I think,
Mm-hmm.
from this being the dynamic of expectations from one side to the other. So they're the judges, you're the clown, right? Now dance for me, puppet, right? And I will see if that is worthy of my praise and
Yeah.
reward. No,
Yeah.
right? This is an exchange, and there are certain things that I have to do, and there's certain things that you have to do, and yes, I will need an early burst of energy to get this going. So will you. And then this is, I think, important. So it sets up the dynamic in this way. And then if they happen to break a promise of payment or any other kind, but mainly payment, you can simply not continue working.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's called a friction plan.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so a payment is due, and 48 hours later, you send them hello, that's due, and then um, 7 days after the payment was due, you can simply pause. You can just send them an information, no biggie, but we're not doing any more work. Now, if you are able to do this, it's advisable to say, the access to files and dashboards and stuff is paused as well. We can resume a work day after bringing the payment. It's a friction plan. Look, it can look hostile to do something like that, but the least hostile moment, and I think you will agree here, and I'm happy for you not to if you have a different agreement, if you have a different experience in your industry. But the least hostile moment to bring this up is in the beginning.
Absolutely.
And you
Absolutely.
can, when you're a teenager, it's very good if you can pin stuff to your mom to say, I would definitely go, skydiving, but my mom won't let me, right? My dad would be very disappointed if I. So that's a blanket check. That's a blanket statement. It's a blank check. Um, right? Here you can say I had some bad experiences and my lawyer won't let me sign anything else. I know you're not going to be like, but look, if everything is within reasonable, so 48 hours, it's not that second, right? If it's
Mm-hmm.
3 days, it's 3 days. You'll call me. You'll say, "Hey, man, I got something. I'll pay you in 3 days." Fine. But if it's a week later and you're still working for free, So you can say I had some bad experiences, and my lawyer won't let me, my accountant won't let me, right? But I'm sure that's not going to crop up, and of course they're going to say yes. Of course it won't crop up, right? Because it only comes into play if something significant happens with the payments, and at the beginning, nobody thinks that will happen. So since it doesn't really matter, can we just sign that and move on, right? Because the only thing that they can say here is, no, I expect you to work for free even if I don't pay you. I mean, if they're able to say that in the negotiations, then you shouldn't work for them anyway, right? So that's not a problem because you're not going to do that. So they can either sign or they can explicitly say, no, I expect you to act like a servant. So I think that's a good idea in general. And I think you spoke about this in the pre-show, the blurring of the line. We talk about frames here, so the client and the expert have a certain way of relating to each other. There's a frame of relationship, and if they break a promise but you don't, then that blurs the frame. Then the can you give me an example of consequences of that? So what happens if the frame gets blurred?
Sure. Exactly as you mentioned, as we spoke about it in the pre-show. Sometimes companies are having floating policy, which is by default wrong. So in the SMB space, they are approaching to the respective clients and customers with strict policy, by the book rules, whatever. And in parallel, if they see, we can call them a big whale, a big white whale as a big business opportunity, whatever, they are releasing the policies because this is good, this can be very lucrative here and there, whatever, which is by default wrong because you are immediately doing what? Killing your reputation, not only in the eyes of the clients, but also generally speaking, whoever knows you, especially if you have very strict rules and policy, how you collaborate, work, and which is okay. People appreciate and respect that. And at the same time, complete cognitive dissonance. Something completely else. Like you simply forgot your own freaking rules you put on the table. It's a joke. You look like a joke.
I've seen the consequences of that being that clients so you say if you stop the payment, I'll stop the work, and then you don't.
Yeah.
That lax approach, those obligations also erodes their confidence in your word. So if you're not keeping to your word here in this context, maybe some of the results you give me are not really results. You just say that because you just say things and then you don't mean it. So I've seen people. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is what's all about. Bad things are happening. Lack of trust. Significant complications in the process, and then what happens? The service provider, the expert, is being angry at the client. Okay, it's self-inflicted BS. So you did that, not the client. On the client side, they'll try, they'll ask, and you are the one who'll be accepting that or rejecting, whatever that is. So it's pretty much straightforward. And one thing I'm very often emphasizing in various conversations, in mentorship and everything else, from the first point of contact until some service delivery, whatever, you need to have very clear line, integrity, and consistency.
Yes.
And if you're moving away from the structure, you look like Joe. And if one time things are passing by just like that, it will be a second attempt, third attempt, fourth, and then you definitely have very significant downturn by default for this specific relationship in the future, for you as the expert being very often perceived as a commodity. So all mentioned stuff are definitely connected there, and people should be taking care of reputation, authority, respect, and everything in entire set of activities from the first contact until the end. And sometimes that will be rejecting clients.
Yes.
But still, do you actually want somebody who will be playing by their own rules and enforcing their stuff and BS upon you as the expert they're engaged with? No.
So you can't lose a client you never had, right?
Exactly.
And the whole thing is within the old German Roman proverb of if you want peace, prepare for war, right?
Yeah.
Very much so. So at the beginning, when there's peace, and nobody's even thinking about not paying you, it's the courting phase. Of course, good. Sign here. And yeah, so this is the big difference to the duck business is that this is more complicated. It requires more milestones from you and from the client. So setting up an early payment is a really good idea, simply to see if you should or shouldn't continue working. And if they're aware that there are real consequences to being lax toward payments, and that all of the dates and times that you promised depend upon their milestones very much, then this sets up a completely different relationship that can be short and beautiful and not drag on to infinity, and then you end up without a reference. So just like many other things that we talked about, it feeds itself. It basically compounds. Okay. Cool. Anything else?
Nothing here.
Right. So, where can people find you?
People can find me on LinkedIn and also on my mentorship page, philipzolota.com.
It's fearless-pricing.com for me, and also LinkedIn. I would just like to say that the next 5 shows are going to be a mini series on the alternatives to hourlies for really difficult work. By that I mean stuff with invisible consequences, or you get paid so nothing bad happens, or you do creative work, things like that. So that's what we're going to do in the next 5 shows.
And looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about time. It's about
time.
People, thanks for being with us today, and see you next time on the Swing Pricing Show.
See you.